jump to the sky turns to a rider kick.
Hey everyone, I'm Colonel Gura, and today we're taking a look at the DX Chogokin Senpuujin from Nippon Sentai Hurricane. Now, when I got this guy, he did come with the box, and it's kind of in bad shape, but let's quickly go over it. You got this beautiful picture here, and up here it says DX Chogokin Nippon Gatai Senpuujin. You got the Hurricane, at least the main three of them right there, and you got all the individual components. You got the logo for the team. Up on the top, you got this with the Ranger shot. On the side, it just shows the individual components and which Ranger that mecha goes to, as well as some features it can do. On the back, you got this really nice imagery of a fantasy shot of the mecha bringing out the Karakuri ball and the weapon inside. I don't know what it's called in Hurricane, but I've been watching Ninja Storm and they call it the Serpent Sword. Right here again, you got the components, logo, and some of the other Karakuri balls in the line. And underneath, you got some warning labels and Sad Pac-Man, and a bar scanning code of some sorts. And that's basically all there really is to this box. Now here we have the three Shinobi machines, which that's what they're called in Hurricane. And I think this is a pretty good set, except for this dolphin. I do not like it at all, and I'll get to that later. But for now, let's start off by taking a look at Hurricane Hawk. Now, mine really isn't in the best shape because there's a lot of paint wear on the eyes and on the wings. But overall, I think this is a pretty cool Zord. And I've heard reports of this white paint chipping even from opening brand new ones, as seen in Dawson Rider's review of the American version of this toy. And I don't know, I just like the colors on this. The red and white really works and just makes me think of the Japanese flag. Also makes me think of Sunfire from the X-Men. Oh, spoiler alert, that's the head. And there's diecast here, as well as the top of the body. And this guy is just really tiny. And with all his peers here, it's like playing Where's Waldo? Or in this case, Where's Little Red Birdie? As for this guy's articulation, he's got a hinge joint, hinge joint, hinge joint, hinge joint, and a hinge joint. Now, unfortunately, this guy does not come with any flight stand, but thanks to the articulation, you can plop him to the ground like this. And I'm pretty sure you could use a Bandai Tamashii Nation 5 stand to have him up in the air, but I don't have, I do have some, but they're currently stored away at the moment. And this is how you have him on the ground. And another thing I like about this guy, he's got some nicely sculpted in thrusters on the back, as well as these missiles. But in the show, he never really used these missiles. Instead, this mecha summons like a fiery tornado and just flies around the enemy. Next up is Hurricane Dolphin, and I despise this thing. There's nothing wrong with it in terms of the way it looks, but as an actual toy, this thing is terrible. Now, if you notice, I've had this tail up the whole time, and there's a reason for that, because the joint on this tail is so stiff. I felt like it was gonna break, and I had the worst anxiety when I was fiddling with it and filming the review, that I decided to keep this up. Also, mine kind of broke. Now, there's this thing that it is resting on, this little tray, and it rolls around. And there are supposed to be these little clips that fold out, and you're supposed to just clip it on. Now, when I did that, and I took it off, this side just broke off, and it caught me off guard. And I had to use tape to kind of put it back together, which is temporary. I might use super glue later on, but I don't even use these. I just have them up like that, and I just have it rest onto the tray like so, and just have it roll around. And This is by far the worst experience I've ever had with any Zord individually. And also, the head, I cannot take this head off, and I feel like it's gonna break. Because eventually I plan on getting Goraijin so that they can all combine together into a big combination. And taking off this head reveals a Gatling gun, and I just couldn't take it off. And knowing how easily this broke, I would not want to risk taking off the head on this just to break. And I've heard many reports online and in many reviews that this tail is very fragile and breaks, which is why I decided to keep it up this whole time. And the Gatling gun thing on the wheel just spins like that. And as for the diecast metal, it's right around here. And it's not really that accessible. And there really isn't much to this thing. I mean, like I said, it looks fine. But as a toy, this thing is just very fragile. And it just really pisses me off that it was this way. And the Hurricane / Ninja Storm line was notorious for being very fragile, with Ninja Storm being worse because a lot of the diecast parts, no, all the diecast parts were replaced with plastic. Actually, they might have kept some diecast, but I'm not too sure. But the reason I got the Japanese version is for the diecast, and that's pretty cool. But there's not really much to say other than that. It just rolls around. Without it, it just looks like this. And this is also the second Dolphin mecha we've seen in Sentai, the first one being Aqua Dolphin from Live Man. And that's all there really is to this guy. And it's also got some gold chrome, which is pretty nice. I heard rumors that there might be gold plastic syndrome within this toy, which means that it's like very brittle plastic that breaks easily, but I only had this for less than a day, and that already broke, and I don't want anything else breaking on this toy, so I'm just gonna leave it as it is. And I've had Zords that have broke in the past, including Jet Icarus with the clips on the legs. Basically what happened was that Jet Condor's clip that connects the headpiece as well as Jet Swan later on, they both broke and one of the pegs broke, and resulting in them being floppy. But that's nowhere as bad as this thing, because this just really makes me sad how much more fragile it is. Not because when you buy old toys, they are often destined to break, or maybe they've already broken from playware or something. But this guy, the previous owner, barely even touched this thing. And I have no idea how he was able to put the tail down and move it down when he put it in the box and shipped it to me. But I'm glad it all came in one piece until this broke. But taking a closer look, it's got some nice metallic blue paint. And it's actually very pretty to look at. If only it wasn't so fragile. Also, this black tray has a lot of nicely molded in detail that most people are going to miss. It reminds me a lot of the tray that came with Jet Garuda, but much, much smaller. And last but not least, here we have Hurricane Lion. And this guy is both huge and heavy. Basically, internally, the legs that would later become the legs for the Megazord are made of die-cast, as well as the silver bits here, which are all die-cast. And I was just so impressed when I first lifted this and took it out of the box. And I was just so blown away at how heavy it was. And this is the type of stuff I'm looking for in a Chogokin figure. Anyway, this line is just very unique because it kind of looks like a Ferris wheel with the mane, and that's what it kind of disguises as in the show before it comes out. And if you notice, this tail is actually a ripcord. It can be removed. And what you do with it is that you stick it into here. Hope I'm doing it correctly. Nope, it's got in the wrong way. Aha. So you just stick it in, and you push it all the way back, and then when you let go, it spins. How cool is that? That's a really fun play feature if you ask me. Also die-cast on the front legs here, and on the little joint for the hinge that is for transformation, there's also die-cast, which I just think is awesome. It's a damn shame that new Sentai mecha these days don't really have diecast metal, because Hurricane was the last line to have mecha with diecast parts to be classified as Chogokin. But I guess we could always stick back to the old ones, or just get the Soul Chogokin toys that are out now. And this guy doesn't really do much. He doesn't really have much articulation at all. The back of the feet here, the back paws can move, but it's really stiff. And one thing I don't like is that when you pull this back, he makes a really loud click. Also, there's hinges here with the feet, but when you pull this back for transformation, it makes a really loud click, and it just makes me think that's gonna break every time I do that. I haven't heard reports of this breaking or anything, but it's always a possibility, and that just makes me nervous. But when I push it back, it doesn't make any clicking sounds, which is odd. And taking a look underneath, this just becomes the main body for the Megazord. And I always like the symbol of the Hurricane, at least for the Wind Rangers. And that's all there really is here. It doesn't really do much. It just stands here looking cool. Also, the mouth can open, but not that wide. And one thing I forgot to point out with each Shinobi machine is that they all have their own cockpits. Red has one here, Yellow's is here, and Blue's is here. And overall, I think these guys, except for the Dolphin, are pretty impressive on their own. But now it's time to get these guys combined. Here we have Senpuujin all combined into the robot mode, and this guy is just really neat. He's got some really nice gold chrome here, and he also has some other chrome bits on that are silver. And he's got the lion head onto the side, and here it's on the back. And one thing that I do not like about this guy are how the legs form in the back. They don't seem to clip into place anywhere, and they just seem to flop around, which is pretty annoying. But I'm not really sure what to do there. But overall, this guy is just really impressive. And he's got quite the heft because of all the diecast metal, especially on the legs. This guy weighs a ton. And the nice thing about this is that you can still do the ripcord feature from the lion while combining to Senpuujin. I don't know why, but that play feature is satisfying as hell. As for the main gimmick of this line, you get the Karakuri balls mentioned earlier. And what you do is that you open these up, and the chests will have a little hatch that folds down, revealing a ball, and to get it out you push a button, and it comes out. And inside each Karakuri ball is a weapon that has its own unique personality. I don't know if they talk in Hurricane, but from what I've seen so far in Ninja Storm, they don't really talk. Well, basically, you just open it up, revealing the weapon inside into this compact form. And here we have, I'm going to refer to it as the Serpent Sword. The Serpent Sword. What you do here, it looks like it has a cockpit. You just bring this out, revealing the sword, and you bring out the handle. And Senpuujin can hold it like so. Hold on a minute, actually. Okay, sorry about that. But here is how Senpuujin holds the sword. Just slide it in, or actually I think you have to open the hand up a little bit. And There you go. On the other hand, no pun intended, the ripcord tail can be held like so. And I just think this is really silly. Looks like he's walking an invisible dog or something. For posability, it's your typical Sentai mecha or megazord. The arms rotate. Oh, and that's one thing I don't like about this weapon, is that it tends to flop a little if you're moving the arm too much. And also, it gets a little bit of elbow articulation and even a swivel. But as you can see, when you move that around, the weapon gets all funny. Unfortunately, that only applies to this arm. As for this arm, because of the big wheel, you can't really do much on that arm. As for size comparisons, here's next to Jet Icarus, Jet Garuda, Galaxy Megazord / Gingayo, Kira Meijing, Jungle Pride Megazord / Geki Toja, Hasbro Megazord, and my previously reviewed figure, the Star Wars The Black Series Darth Nihilus. So overall, this is a very good Sentai mecha, but I'd only recommend getting the Japanese version because the diecast makes some things sturdier and it's a little bit less fragile. But do be careful of the dolphin, and I don't recommend moving the tail too much. I guess everyone's a little bit different with theirs because some can move the tail a little bit easier than others. But overall, you just gotta be careful when you find these on eBay. Just check the condition, make sure it's complete, and that's all there really is to say about this guy. So, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the flip side.